Yo, YouTube. Now that I'm finally done moving across the country, done my subathon, done my 79 days in purgatory, I'm going to be experimenting with different formats, kind of seeing what I think sticks and what I like. You know, for me, I'm kind of a live guy. I do a lot of Twitch streaming, not a lot of pre-produced content. So you're just gonna have to forgive me at least for this iteration and maybe several others after if it's not the most cohesive train of thought. I have written everything out, but we'll see how it goes. So this format's basically going to be me talking a little bit about this absolutely crazy game that happened with Arky here. Him and the Euro boys tend to like to snipe me a lot on EU, and obviously it's all in good fun. I don't mind. It's nice to get some good games in. And we're also going to talk about just whatever kind of comes up during the week, or maybe longer, depending on whether or not there's anything interesting to talk about. Just kind of stuff that I wanted to talk about. For example, in this particular iteration, I want to talk about the state of getting muted in StarCraft. This is actually a thing that happened to me, and it's happened to several other community members. The state of Blizzard and StarCraft 2 in general right now, at least on a higher level, the things that are kind of existentially threatening to the state of the game itself. I want to talk a bit about how crazy Artos' ban is, because I thought that was extremely interesting. And then talk a little bit about DreamHack Dallas and the state of EWC and esports right now in general. So the inspiration for this format actually comes from, old GSL casts where Tasteless and Artosis used to go into random tangents at the start of games to fill time, and also very randomly. I watch this YouTuber occasionally whenever he shows up in my recommended, Blacktail Studios. He makes high-end tables, and it's like such a weird comparison to draw. And while he's making his tables, and he'll do obviously commentates what he does and why he does certain things with epoxy and whatever he does. But he's also telling completely random stories at the same time. I find it's a really interesting way to kind of fill the time and also give a little bit of insight to his mindset and just kind of what's going on in his day-to-day life. So I thought I'd try my hand at like the same kind of formula where I talk about my day-to-day life maybe, or what's going on in SC2 right now, just depending on how I feel. And then also, again, like there's a good StarCraft game going on at the same time. I'm interested to see how well this works, so you guys have to let me know in the comments, obviously. Also, for any of you YouTube tryhards out there, I just want you to know that in case anything I ever do on YouTube, because I'm going to be focusing a lot more on it, ever goes well, I've already instituted a policy in my mind that I'll only really respond to comments about a day after, maybe two, depending on the size of the video, if it ever happens again. This is kind of something I learned from the Stormgate video, so if you want to have a dialogue with me about something stupid I say, make sure you get in as fast as humanly possible, because I will stop reading after a certain point, and you'll be on your own to yell into the ether. On a final note, you will notice that I am actually not on camera talking about this. What you're watching is obviously the stream from where this game came from. You'll probably see Twitch chatters trying to light up the Twitch chat with politics or say really dumb things. I think in this case, we might be talking a little bit. The incredibly fun competition I have going on with Ruff right now, I'm not 100% sure. In fact, I can't even read the Twitch chat at the moment. Mainly for me, the goal of this is just to practice my voiceovers, and turning on the camera is just another barrier to being able to do that. And it's much harder to be able to maintain eye contact with the camera and think at the same time than you'd think it would be. So, this is kind of my stepping stone into that. So very recently, on a day I wasn't even streaming, I logged in to look at some replays. I was just minding my own business, I'm going to try and learn some Protoss, discover how easy the race actually is to play. And I discovered I'd been globally muted, which is really interesting because I think you can count on like one hand the number of people I've actually engaged in any kind of flaming with recently. I think I called one guy a patch beard because he called me a patch Terran. Oh, and in case that doesn't make any sense, his in-game name was like Metal Beard or something like that. So very quickly, in StarCraft 2, global muting is basically, you know, where you manage to piss off enough people that, and they've reported you, that now you're unable to talk to anybody in-game or out unless you are friends with them or in a party. This has actually led to some pretty hilarious interactions ever since the global mute, where people who I interact with on a very frequent basis will pause the game because they have to get up and go to the washroom, and I desperately attempt to communicate to them that I am in fact muted and can't say go. So I've changed my clan tag to be clan tag muted, and I try to pause and unpause so that they will see that my name says that I am muted, and they will just hit go as soon as they are ready. I kid you not, I have been stuck in like 5 to 10 minute stalemates with people who are unwilling to unpause the game for fear of being bad-mannered and not understanding the situation, which I don't blame them for, because why would anybody look at the clan tag of the guy who paused and unpaused? This is a situation that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, my current understanding of how global muting is being done is simply that if enough people will report somebody, then they get muted. I don't think there's any oversight from Blizzard on this in any way, shape, or form. Mainly, obviously, this seems like a little bit of a, an anecdotal experience here. But now I've come to learn that this is not just happening to me. So what's likely happening is that people have amassed enough free accounts that they are able to log in and report on enough accounts that you can target a certain individual to get muted, or there's some other exploit or a group of individuals. We're not 100% sure. At the start of this VOD, actually, I thought that it was the current upcoming map hacking savant status that was the one doing it, because another guy who got hit was the one who wrote this long expose about how he's the map hacker, and you're basically nailing him down 100% as somebody who's a cheater. So that guy, Cobblestone, also got muted, and so since it was me and him, a lot of people, including myself, thought that there was probably some sort of correlation there. But when I asked around a bit, I actually discovered that this has been happening for like a very significant amount of time. I know that Dolan and PracticeX get this all the time. And before, I think people thought that this is just something that happened to like team game players, because occasionally you get into team games and these kinds of situations happen a lot. PracticeX gets muted all the time, apparently. Because he plays team games a lot, and then he'll just get reported a lot, even though he's a perfectly well-mannered guy who never gets into any trouble. I think the highest profile recent incidence of this was when Cham, who's been globally muted, I think before, he also, I think, was playing team games too, maybe, or maybe he just gets hit. I remember him talking about it. He said that this has been happening for quite a while on Twitter. He actually, I think, got banned, which I guess means that if you get globally muted enough times that you will in fact eventually get banned, which is a pretty interesting situation. And for reference, Cham just finished playing his matches for the biggest tournament of the entire year, the EWC. And yeah, he just gets hit like directly after with, as far as I understand it, no way to get that appealed. I mean, I submitted my own appeal days ago, like probably a week and a half ago, and absolutely no response from Blizzard. They haven't so much as glanced at my ticket because they don't give a flying shit. Just found it a bit sad and hilarious how bad Blizzard has become over the years. And how completely incapable they've become at like just doing basic maintenance on some of their older titles. I don't know how this works in the titles they have active development for, but at least for SE2, it just feels like it's become a complete shit show. Like the arcade is actually messed up right now to the extent that you can basically sideload whatever media you want into arcade games, and that has resulted in people uploading like terrorist propaganda, terrorist videos, not safe for work links, and just crazy crap into arcade games for people to just play that they don't know what they're clicking on. At the top of the ladder, you have like a win trading, drop hacking, you know, map hacking, tie drawing guy that basically just makes it so you can't play the game you play him. He's got like more MMR than Cyril. Okay, so future Sal interjecting here, and it turns out that I actually just hadn't checked the ticket system on Blizzard's forum. They don't email you. They didn't email me, but they did actually respond, and I think within like a day and a half, they had rejected me. So I was at the very end of my 14-day mute length, finally got unmuted. I played exactly one game, and then I got muted again for a full month. So naturally after that, I instantly went to submit a support ticket, which is actually where I found out that they had responded in the first place. And within 30 minutes, they actually responded to my ticket. And in that response, they told me not only are we going to remove the mute, but we're also going to remove the original mute, like the strike, because kind of my fear here was that I was basically going to get perpetually muted, and which will eventually result in your ban. And at the time, I didn't realize that Cham actually had gotten his account back either. So I was like, well, okay, so like I literally will just lose this account eventually, because clearly someone is like probably watching the stream who wants to mute me or whatever, and the second I was unmuted, I got remuted. It did not happen to other people who have been muted either at around the same time that I got muted. But yeah, in this screenshot, you can actually kind of see the stunned shock on my face that I got not only did I get a response, but I got like a full backtracking. So yeah, I just eat shit the first GM that said that, you know, I completely deserved my timeout. And thank you, Blizzard, for actually giving a shit. And so what this says to me is probably that this has happened to enough higher profile people now that have submitted tickets, or it's made its like way around Twitter, or maybe internal systems like kicked in, that they're probably going to figure out what the loophole is here. And if you get muted yourself for whatever reason, an appeal will probably be good enough to remove it. Because my suspicion is that the first GM that looked at this just didn't think this was a real thing, or didn't know, and just like saw that a ton of reports and just was like, nah, get out of here. Like, you clearly said something wrong. So yeah, that Blizzard actually going back and fixing that ticket kind of ruined my segue, because I was going to talk about big companies not responding to tickets, but I don't know if you guys caught Artosis' Twitch ban, which is a little bit older now, but still is absolutely crazy to me. It's not that I don't understand why Artosis might get banned, because I've literally seen more safe for work videos on the hub than some evenings on Artosis' channel. It's just that they literally didn't respond to him for weeks. And as far as I understand it, he tried like desperately to reach out to them, and he just kept getting like responses from bots like over and over and over again. Um, and you'd think that like a 1K viewer streamer, which I actually saw the argument in my chat and online that, you know, that's not a lot. It's like top 0.01% streamer. Like it's countable the number of streamers that are bigger than him. I know that Twitch seems to scale very high, but the bread and butter of Twitch is actually just the number of like high mid range. Like I'm obviously still very small comparatively, but even I'm still in the top 0.1% of streamers, and he is significantly more reach than I do. You'd expect that they would do something for those people, especially just to like let him know what he could do to not get banned in the future. But the funniest thing is that they actually did get back to him like a week after being unbanned, and I shit you not, the response said, "Your issue has been resolved. Sorry for the inconvenience." I've had my issues with Twitch and like, you know, how they do moderation, how they do a lot of processes, but this was like truly eye-opening to me how absolutely worthless like 99.999% of content creators are to the website. Like they can just take your job from you and tell you absolutely nothing about why that happened to you or what you could do better. And the resulting situation for Artosis is that he doesn't even know if what happened was a mistake. On a positive note, EWC has been pretty awesome. You know, I railed on ESL for years about the state of the open bracket because they kept using the word open, but it truly wasn't what I think they wanted people to think of when they said the word open bracket. Like I think very early on it was kind of like a first come first serve, I think 64-man bracket, and then it became a 32-man bracket where you had to have EPT points to even have a chance. So essentially, in order to play in a quote-unquote open bracket, you needed to actually already be competing and already be successful. So I don't know how that constitutes open, but they use the language regardless. So lo and behold, right, one of the possibly last dream hacks was StarCraft, right, with its lowest budget, probably the lowest like fanfare for staging. They have a 128 player bracket. So it turns out that they could, in fact, do it all along. And it was really sick to watch, actually. There was a lot of StarCraft going on all the time. And the format was just simpler and easier to follow. And I kind of miss those days. Like, no complicated groups, no meaningless matches, no scores to keep, just double elimination, and then single elim once you're in the final 8. Me and the boys had an absolute blast watching the Giga Chad that is classic finally upset Cyril and make it into Maru, who simply just pulled the boys. The state of DVP is absolutely laughable at the moment, but it was still, I mean, Maru got his dream run, right? Dodges Cyril, dodges Raynor, plays Solar, and then plays Classic. He's got to love that for himself. Right now, the rumor mill has it that SC2 and EWC are probably done after this year. And I've heard of theoretical reasons, and honestly, I don't know what's exactly true, but I mean, it doesn't stop you from theory crafting a little bit here. How insane is it that EWC VODs, right, StarCraft VODs, have literally the same viewership as Valorant, which is like a top 5 esport at the moment, and somehow it's on the chopping block? I know that everyone's pretty doom and gloom about the state of StarCraft, but in my opinion, I just think a lot of esports are straight up cooked. I know it's completely paradoxical because you need money in order to host these tournaments, but money is honestly just screwing up the entire thing. The most popular esports to watch shouldn't be on the chopping block, while there are literally games in the EWC, which is supposed to be like the Olympics of, or this is what they want anyway, the Olympics of esports, that are unreleased when they were announced. I think chat says that there are two. Rensport is one, and there was one from the previous EWC that like literally wasn't even out yet when they were announced for EWC. To me, esports just feels like it's become a gigantic advertising campaign rather than, you know, tournaments actually about competition with popular games or popular games to watch. It feels like the pendulum has just gone so far away from grassroots that even though it's probably worse in the short term, I feel like it might be for the best that it swings back. Like ESL goes away, and immediately we have a more interesting. This is, I said this on stream just a couple days ago, maybe yesterday or something. It all blends in, but literally one of the best map pools I've ever played in. It's just fun. Like all of the maps that are new. I think there are two I don't like to play on, but all of the ones that I like to play on, they're not even small maps that are like super good for Terran, but they're just really interesting. Like the healing zones and the layouts and where the destructible debris are and everything. All it's stuff like that we haven't seen before, and even the system that was proposed for placing in new maps seems vastly superior to what we had going into the ESL days. Anyway, like and subscribe, leave comments, get them in early. I've decided that in case things go well, I'm only going to be responding for 1 or 2 days. So, all right, you're not going to be able to get me a month after. So get in while you can. Love you all. Be good, be safe. Bye. Give me an out of 10, Fido. He is not talking. Tell him that I'm logging off with his ladder points after this game. Tell him this is my last game. It's fungal. He's not taking it well. Oh man, I'm absolutely logging off. This is absolutely the thumbnail for this fucking stream too on YouTube. That's so based. Someday he'll get you. He absolutely had me in this one. Yeah, he had me. I took too many I made too many mistakes. Didn't matter though. It's a good game.